Chicago has incredible public spaces that elevate its residents' lives. So let's take to the air for a tour of this city in a garden. The most popular park in the city is Millennium Park, which opened in 2004. It features the seamless, liquid mercury-inspired cloud gate sculpture that locals affectionately call the Bean, the 11,000 capacity Pritzker Pavilion and Great Lawn, and a hybrid video fountain sculpture. The brainchild of Chicago's longest-serving mayor, Richard M. Daley, sits atop parking garages and a major commuter rail terminal, making it the world's largest rooftop garden.
The initial planning process was for a series of defined outdoor spaces, room-like outdoor spaces. So you had a lot of money, a ruler, Mayor Daley, who had enormous power, and the patrons went after the best in the world. Frank Gehry, a leading architect, Anish Kapoor, great Indian-born British sculptor, Jaume Plensa from Spain. I mean, this was not just going to be any park, it was going to be something great.
Surrounding downtown is Chicago's system of boulevards, the first comprehensive greenway in a major U.S. city. Linking numerous parks, these wide, grass and tree-lined streets were designed for leisurely strolls, cycles, or drives, and they help explain Chicago's motto, City in a Garden. And then there's the one feature that truly sets Chicago apart. Nearly every inch of its 30-mile lakefront is a park. When I was in town, I biked about a third of its length from the Navy Pier south to Jackson Park, the site of the World's Fair in 1893. That's when my camera caught the attention of another cyclist who was also inspired by the fair. Only she had come from a little further.
My name is Julia. I just arrived in Chicago, actually. Well, what happened is 2 years ago I was reading a book about the first Italian bike touring pioneer, and he went to Chicago from Milan because of the fair in 1893. And I'm cycling the same way he did a long time ago, 130 years ago. That's why I'm here. So there you go.
And you literally just pulled in. Yeah, exactly. Behind Julia, you can see how far away downtown is. And the city limit extends for miles further north of it and miles further to the south of where we were standing on Promontory Point. Right nearby is the site of the nearly complete Obama Presidential Center, which is rising in the south side neighborhood of Hyde Park, right next to the Museum of Science and Industry, the largest of its kind in the Western Hemisphere, and one of the only buildings remaining from the 1893 fair. The Obama's Presidential Library, like their home for 8 years in D.C., is adjacent to a long public lawn, the Midway Plaisance, which connects Jackson Park with Washington Park to the west, forming one of the largest continuous urban public spaces in the country. In fact, Washington Park's large open green was where the Olympic Stadium would have been if the city had succeeded in its bid for the 2016 Summer Games. The Midway also runs through the University of Chicago, one of the best colleges in the world. But one of the most ideal vantage points for viewing Chicago's public lands is from the top of 875 North Michigan Avenue, formerly known as the John Hancock Center. Nothing beats viewing the world in 360 degrees from 1,000 feet up, even if the air was thick with smoke from wildfires in Canada. As I moved from window to window, it was clear to me that an incredible amount of forethought had gone into the construction of the continuous series of parks, beaches, and trails along the shoreline. Yet just a few years ago, this vision remained unfulfilled. Turns out, it took a bizarre showdown to remove the last major hurdle blocking uninterrupted access to Lake Michigan. For years, the city had been trying to close a small airport called Meigs Field on Northerly Island, which after 9/11 it also viewed as a clear security threat. Yet these efforts were repeatedly blocked by the FAA. So in the middle of the night in 2003, Mayor Daley took matters into his own hands.
It was quite a sight. Bulldozers, backhoes, and other heavy equipment rolling through the loop just before midnight under police escort. Their destination was Meigs Field.
There was no warning, no nothing. Guys go out the next morning to go flying and the runway's plowed.
Daley destroyed the runways at midnight to do an end run around lawsuits and court delays.
As mayor of the city of Chicago, public safety is one of my primary responsibilities. I take it very seriously. I am not willing to wait for a tragedy, as some have asked me to do, to happen before making a very difficult and tough decision.
Daley's 22 years in office easily make him the Chicagoan whose impact is most felt in the city today. And this incident sums up his bold, some would say brash, action-oriented leadership style. Today, the island has been restored to its initial purpose, a park. The Meigs saga is a reminder that these public spaces are the product of deliberate action, considerable funds, and sustained effort.
They didn't just happen. They weren't just naturally occurring places like, oh, here's a green space, here's a lagoon. It's like, no, in most cases, that lagoon didn't exist. They had to dig it out. Or, like with the lakefront, the land didn't even exist. They made the land. They filled in the lake to make the land to build the park.
Chicago Parks historian Julia Bachrach wrote the book on the subject.
There was a movement in Chicago where people felt that for the city to become a great city, it needed a system of parks. And the head recreation director at that time, named V.K. Brown, was a really democratic thinker. And so he was trying to come up with ways to have different groups of people spend time together.
Recreation is a basic human need in our civilization, like education or public health or sanitation. It's the responsibility of the municipal government itself, the people's responsibility.
Jane Addams also felt a responsibility to make people's lives better. Her famous settlement house started as an effort to help poor immigrants in her Chicago neighborhood, but grew into one of the most powerful social reform movements in history. Addams became the first American woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize, and she inspired another first, Chicago's Fieldhouses. These park buildings, of which there are now over 200, are for the community to gather or exercise, no matter what the weather's like outside.
With these great buildings, there could be all kinds of activities. People had the opportunity to come and actually use a shower bath. They didn't have running water at home.
Another amenity located in the surrounding counties is the forest preserves, an unrivaled network of prairies, woods, and wetlands.
People in the city don't really know about the forest preserves. They're kind of a wonderful green emerald ring around the city. The forest preserves are owned by the taxpayers, and it's about 69,000 acres, 11% of our land. It's a wonderful, wonderful asset.
We're the last bastion in many cases for certain plants and animals that really are only found here in the forest preserves of Cook County.
It's now the largest urban preserve in the United States.
To have this kind of open space so close to a major metropolis is really unheard of. The more people are connected and have an appreciation for it, the more people will want to protect it and even enhance it and even grow it.
That's definitely been the city's approach to the river, transforming it over the last century from a reeking public sewer to one of Chicago's most celebrated public spaces. The Riverwalk, completed in 2016, allows people to take in the incredible architecture towering above from water level. The path also passes under several bridges, whose foundations divide the promenade into a series of rooms. Walking along it in the evening now has an amazing vibe, and is a major part of why downtown has become the fastest growing neighborhood in Chicago or any other city in the country. But it's just one of many features that has the capital of the Midwest poised to continue inspiring the world for decades to come. Thanks for watching this conclusion to my 4-part series on Chicago. Make sure you're subscribed to get my upcoming video profiling Pittsburgh, where, of course, I visited some incredible parks.